Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your magical moon message. Oh, yes. Moon in Aries, sun in Virgo. Fresh off the full moon, and the sun is not even 8 or 9 degrees. The sun is rather barely just 9 degrees, I believe, if not 8. And this is getting us ready to explore over the next week the second decan, which is going to bring us into Saturn, organization, and order. All right. It means that the behaviors that in the first decan of course, Mercury, which enabled you to analyze the habits you're walking into this season with, you're now going to start to organize and put in greater order. If you think about the 21-day cycle to break in a habit, this is that second decan that starts to do the breaking in part. If the first part was to bring in the new habits, now the second decan over the next 10 days is going to reinforce that. And so as we look at Moon in Aries, we do see that the moon is going to be not only King Kunxing the sun, closing King Kunx, Scorpio signature, transformation, but it's also going to be going over Chiron and the North Node, which thankfully with the advent of destiny is giving you greater understanding to the nature of this plot twist. And everything that I was saying about the nature of this plot twist, bringing in characters turning heel, the whole notion from that hero in Libra becoming the villain or designated villain, because not everyone who's called a villain is actually a villain. All right. You're going to start to understand exactly how that's going to happen today. Think about it. This is the transformation signature. The moon is in Aries. You're understanding the identity of transformed behavior. This is where it happens. This is where that plot twist happens. Shout out to the manga readers. You already know. You already seen the evidence. Like, oh, okay, yep, full moon, super moon is happening. Cool. So that means you're going to understand the individual identity and actions post this harvesting of supernatural behaviors, routines, and techniques you are currently integrating, which will quintessentially, as guided by destiny, point you towards the direction that you are meant to understand you're supposed to go down. And this is where, of course, now that you've instilled these habits, this transformation of who you understand yourself to be is going to allow you to now understand more than ever who you have become, who you have evolved into. Mind you, in April, Jupiter was in this sign of this year. So we're still undercover going through who you evolved into, and that's what's going to enable you to sit and understand the authenticity required to now transform the element of how you're going to behave moving forward. Coming out the 8th house in Aries, once the moon is in Taurus, this is going to be our very first opportunity to, in the light of the 9th house, actually see the hyper real quality and practical evidence of how you have been changing your behavior. But coming out of metaphysical full moon Pisces and of course Aries, you can't see one's identity, but you can see their body. And that's why you're going to see this in Taurus, which represents the physical body and senses. You're going to, in a few short days, ascend your senses to supernatural quality, exalting Uranus and Jupiter, which rules the 9th house, to be 9th house from the sun in Virgo, with Mercury retrograde, reevaluating how much stronger you can sense through your 5 senses and how that actually ascends your behavior to get you ready for Libra season. Which means you want to take this moon in Aries seriously, because you're going to understand stuff about yourself that you probably have struggled to believe and accept, because maybe you listen too much to what other people from the outside looking in have to say about you, which is hogwash and trash. If you need a scientific basis for this, go watch Anil Seth and his TED Talk. You hallucinate your conscious reality. So like your brain isn't even able to perceive what's happening just with your perception in a given moment, because by the time your subconscious is able to take your senses and put things together, we've already moved to the next moment. It's like a video game glitching on itself. So you hallucinate your conscious reality. This reality in and of itself that you're hallucinating is not even locally real. Look that up on Google. Nobel Peace Prize was won for that. So in really keeping this in mind and understanding that most people will always just have a static image and personality of you, a small infinitesimal percentage of who you really are that shapes their interactions with you because they just saw a fraction of you and that's who they believe you are, when there's an entire 99+% of you that they probably have never seen, which we know is true because on top of hallucinating your conscious reality and this bitch not even being here locally, you don't even see more than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. So let me ask you, why are you letting people who are looking at you from the outside looking in tell you who you are? That's preposterous. Wake up. And please don't ever in your life give away your power like that again. This is going to let you take your power back so that you can project outwards to the world your true expression, instead of let people feel like they can manipulate you due to shame manipulation, guilt manipulation, playing the silent treatment, getting social opinions and views to influence what you do, when all the entirety and might of these social opinions and views are actually more useless than your shit and feces, because your feces still has a practical function to excrete waste from your body. Unlike these wasteful opinions said by people who just want to hear themselves talk because your authenticity terrifies the shit out of them. You might want to just keep scaring these people, but you might also want to understand how this greater alignment with your authenticity is continuing to attract other people to you whose soul wavelength resonates with your frequency. We call those allies. We might even call those soulmates, because the note that your soul tunes at is at a resonant frequency with someone else's soul wavelength, note, and tune. And with this very radical understanding about facets of your own self that will transform your behavior over the next 2 days, this is now based off of the metaphysical understanding of unseen principles and metaphysical dynamics that you are now incorporating and harvesting into how you actually form habitual patterns that have every single bit of intent towards expressing the true physical experience of your supernatural abilities. Everything up until this point, once again, was the loading screen. Loading screen is done. It's time for you to now upload to your computer the true understanding of these techniques. And that's what's going to bring us to the moon in Gemini. And by the moon in Gemini, we're understanding the true nature of how we're getting ready to change our life by implementing the completion of these habits that in the new moon in Virgo we will activate and we'll step into. So really take today and tomorrow more seriously than you normally would, because the 8th house quality of this will make this very spicy, and the moon's trine to Venus retrograde in Leo will help you really understand how much more spicy, how much more swag, and how much more confidence and courage you can bring into this transformation of your behavior. In the sense where I feel like a lot of you are going to gain context clues, receipts, and situational social context to show you how you sitting in your authenticity or taking authentic actions not only transforms the way you behave towards others in integrating this more evolved aspect of yourself, but also transforms your dealings with other people, because now they're not able to respond and react and influence the old version of you with old habits. Now they have to, of course, adapt, which is the main principle of any mutable sign season and mutable sign. Hence why, mutable signs happen at the end of a season before we step cardinally into the new season. Fall equinox coming soon. Season 3, the breakthrough arc. Y'all know everything's been heating up season 2, so get ready for season 3, because season 3 is where all of us have mastered our abilities and we're getting ready to use our next level abilities for the first time in real life conflicts so that we can build and transform elements of society, breaking through in a Sagittarius. Y'all better get ready for this Scorpio season. It's going to be unlike any other. And I'm not talking about 2024 Scorpio season with the elections. That's going to be pandemonium. So we're within a year range of that. And you just really want to applaud yourself for allowing yourself to really get this far and allow Chiron to bring up very deep, dark vulnerabilities about stuff you're afraid about sharing about yourself to others, about being intimate about yourself with others. You really don't have a choice because like this is going to come up anyway, so might as well embrace it. And the square with Pluto is going to really kind of expose where you might be a little bit of a bee or just like fearful in doing these things, kind of like a baby who's afraid to get a shot and then they get the shot and it was just a pinch. You know what I'm saying? They can cry and be afraid of the fear of it, but it doesn't really hurt as much as it feels like it will. So that Pluto square is going to be nasty. I'm not even going to front. It's going to be very nasty. But you get to be nasty and you get to make it your bitch instead of it trying to make you its bitch. Okay? You don't have to excuse my language. The vulgarity of Aries is what we're here for today. And you're going to understand that at a much more core level. Chiron is going to, even if anything, be your key. But we want to pay attention to the North Node transit. Because in its square to Pluto, you might not be aware in the moment that in you confronting these vulnerabilities, especially within others who project their insecurities, you will be diving deeper into the direction you are destined to go to. And that's why the Pluto square is like a checkpoint to make sure that you don't compromise that direction because other people think it's lame or other people don't approve of it. Mind you, those other people cannot see more than 1%, do not actually perceive anything that's not a hallucination, and they don't know shit about you. You need to accept that most people do not know shit about you like they think they do. All right, you can give that type of power away to people if you want. Just don't think it's conducive. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do yourself like that? Mars is in Libra right now, so the opposition with the Moon in Aries and Mars in Libra is drawing from this authentic understanding of yourself, so you can take that raw soul talent and polish it. Okay, yeah, you might feel like smacking a bitch today, but Mars in Libra is saying smack that bitch with your aura, not with your hands. Now, if some of you want to do both, I'm not going to stop you. If you want to give them the hands and the class and sass, do you, boo. I'm not going to stop you. Do you. Okay, just as long as you do it with love in your heart. I don't want you stomping out people here or slapping people in the face or stabbing them unless you have love in your heart while you do it. Then it is justified. Because at least when you're putting that knife in someone's heart and you're twisting it, you have love in your heart. So at least they can feel the love of that knife twisting in them. We can't do things heartless out here. That's how we make the world even worse than it is. So I hope you enjoy this understanding of raw savagery that's going to transform how you polish your behavior, because of course, with Mercury retrograde, you're still reevaluating how you bring all of this into form. And with this level of transformation, it's going to give you some amazing epiphanies as we get ready for the Moon in Gemini, Sun Mercury conjunct, where you will have the truest epiphany. So all of this is just kind of, more cogs into preparing you for that. Don't give in to doubt of yourself or others. Fight and break through as we transform this authentic element of your real life. And be prepared to get excited for the grounded ascension that's going to happen, Moon in Taurus. I think Moon in Taurus and Moon in Gemini are highlights of this Virgo season, and you don't want to miss it. So yeah, y'all stay blessed as always. Be willing to preserve and protect what you authentically feel is right for you, and not give in to what other people will lie to themselves to lie to you to make them feel like they have any say over how you live your life. All right, take responsibility, live in integrity, and just keep winning. Godspeed.